my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome or welcome back to another edition of This or That or the Other Thing. And if you haven't watched our This and That videos before, what we do is just basically I ask you a quick question. I give you a little information, sometimes a demo, and then I give you the opportunity to comment below. And remember, there are no wrong answers. I love to read all of your comments, and I love that we all have different points of view on lots of different subjects when it comes to crochet and yarn. We keep it within the crafting community. Because I just know we can learn from each other, and that's why I love doing this type of a video. All right, so what is our this and that question for today? Well, what we're talking about today is the term C2C, and it has to do with corner to corner. And the reason I'm asking this particular question, do you know what C2C means? Do you know where it started? Do you know the history? Have you tried it? There's a lot of questions in there, isn't there? All right, so first of all, let's answer the question, what does C2C or corner to corner mean? Basically, it can be a stitch pattern, a stitch design, and there are a lot of things that you can do with it. Okay, and this is an example of one that I have done. I did this in order to teach the C2C or corner to corner stitch pattern. And this is just a simple washcloth. And if you want the pattern for this, I'll put that link down in the notes under the video so you can go and find it. It's a great way to learn a new stitch by making a square that you can use. You could always do a bunch of these up and put them together. All right, but let's talk about a little bit about the history of what the corner to corner stitch is all about. Now, for me, I'm going to give you my experience. Many years ago when I learned to crochet, when I was like 12, 13, 14, I don't remember exactly when I learned this stitch, but I learned it from an old book. Remember I told you about that old book that was written like 1908 or 1914, something like that. And it was called The Crazy Stitch. It's the same stitch from side to side, and then you start and get bigger, and then you decrease to the next corner. And I did this in two colors so that you can see how you increase and then how you decrease. And when you work this pattern on the one that I have here on my YouTube channel, you'll see the reason I did that in three colors. Okay, so it's called, from many years ago, it was called the Crazy Stitch. Then as it became more popular, it was called the diagonal box stitch, because you're making little tiles or boxes when you make your stitches. See how it looks like little boxes? And so it began being called the diagonal box stitch. Well, then it was kind of forgotten for a while, and then all of a sudden it became super popular again. And now it's called corner to corner, or C2C for short. So there are many ways that we can use this particular stitch or stitch pattern or stitch technique, and this is one of them, of course. This is the washcloth I was talking about that I made a video of in order to teach the C2C or corner to corner stitch or the diagonal box stitch. And it's a really easy pattern once you get the hang of it. People love it or they hate it. There like is no in between. Well, what can you do with it? So we made a washcloth. You can do anything into a washcloth to learn a stitch. But it also works really great when you're making what's called a graph or a pixel type pattern. And I pulled this graph off of Pinterest. It's not my pattern, but I did make it because I love cardinals. And see, this is a great big blanket. I did the cardinal here like it's sitting on a piece of wood or off a tree, and I kept it really simple. And I did this corner in brown so that it looks like he's sitting in a tree sort of, and then I trimmed it with some beautiful Christmas yarn. So you can use this graph for a corner to corner to make a graph picture. And there's tons of those out there. Pixels they're called. You can also do this stitch and make a shawl. Now this is a shawl that I'm making. And I'm showing you this one. It's really hard to see. I'm going to kind of pull that out so you can see the stitch. This one is done using double crochets. This shawl that I'm making, I'm using triple or treble crochets. And so you can do corner to corner stitch with a single crochet, a half double, a double, a triple, or however many stitches that you want. So you don't have to just stick to a double crochet corner to corner. All right, let's just get right down to it. Any stitch can be made in a corner to corner version, meaning you can start at one corner, increase, and then decrease back down. And I wrote down some ones that are popular that I've seen. Now, of course, single crochet, half double crochet, double, triple can all be done in that corner to corner type stitch pattern. You can also do a granny square. You can also do just all single crochets corner to corner. You can also do what we call the wattle stitch as well as the waffle stitch. And in reality, you can make beautiful blankets, especially baby blankets. I think this is a wonderful stitch for a baby blanket because it's absolutely beautiful in the way that it lays, and it's a nice solid blanket. Okay, and so there are just tons of things that you can make with the corner to corner. You can make shawls, you can make bags, you can make scarves and hats, all kinds of lap blankets and blankets, shawls, anything that you want to, you can make with this particular stitch. You just have to think a little bit different. So we just have to think outside of just a diagonal block and do any stitch that we want to. And there are lots of YouTube videos out there showing you different ways to use a corner to corner type stitch design or pattern. All right, now this one, of course, is the most popular to do it in blocks. But let's say you're making a blanket and you want it to be just a little bit tighter stitched. Do half double crochets instead of double crochets, or even single crochets instead of half double crochets. It'll bring that in tighter and make your stitches tighter, and you'll get a completely different kind of look. It's a really neat technique, but the key is understanding how to increase and then how to decrease back down, because again, you're starting in one corner and you're increasing out, and then it's time to decrease back up. And like I said, I have this simple washcloth pattern, and again, that link will be underneath this video. Just click that link and you'll be able to find it, and I do a step-by-step of how to make the C2C. Washcloths are a great way to learn a new stitch. You get to make something you can use and learn a new stitch at the same time. All right, so back to bottom lining the question. What is your opinion on the C2C or corner to corner stitch? Have you tried it? Do you just love it or not? And remember, comment underneath the video in that comment section, and there are no wrong answers. Just because I love a stitch doesn't mean that you have to love a stitch. All right? And so there are a lot of different stitches out there that are super popular, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't care for that. You know, so everybody has their own opinion and their own likes and dislikes when it comes to crochet, and that is totally okay. We would be really, really boring if we all thought the same way, okay? If we all loved only one color of yarn or one brand of yarn or one thickness of yarn or only one crochet hook, we would all be pretty boring people, don't you think? And the whole thing about yarn and crochet is that it's creative, and we have to let our creative juices flow, and they all flow differently. Alrighty, so I'm really anxious to read your comments about your opinion on crochet, corner to corner, or C2C for short, and what you've made, what you've tried, what worked, what didn't work. Because remember, I can learn from you, and we can all learn from each other. Well, thank you for being with me today. And if you have any questions that you'd like answered, please let me know, and I'll do my best to add them to one of our this or that videos. Well, I'll see you next time now. Have a great week.